Preschoolers living in poverty or under-resourced areas are prime candidates to enter kindergarten a year or more behind their peers. There was a study in the 1960s in Kansas that measured the number of vocabulary words a child heard before entering kindergarten in 3 types of households: professional, working class, and poverty. There was a gap between the child of a professional and a child in poverty of, wait for it, 30 million words. 30 million words? These kids need opportunities that will close this gap and change their lives forever, and I have just the thing. Ta-da! Tiny violins, tiny violas, tiny cellos, and tiny basses. Welcome to your String Sprouts class. You are one of 1,300 participants in an innovative and growing program called String Sprouts, offered by the Omaha Conservatory of Music. Here's who's in the room. You've got 14 wild and woolly preschoolers, 14 caregivers, 1 lead instructor, and an assistant, and every family is waiting for one of these. How did you get here? Every family selected for the program was chosen because they fit the parameters for participation exactly, which are, you gotta have a child 3 or 4 years old. Number 2, a caregiver who will attend every single class with their sprout. And thirdly, most importantly, the family's income is below 200% on the national poverty scale. Or, like I did, they're growing up in an area with very little access to the arts, an under-resourced area. I grew up in western Nebraska, and I longed for more musical activities. In fact, I spent a lot of time dreaming about programs I could create and then attend with other kids like me. As I got older, I continued to ask myself the question, what can I do to make it possible for every child living in an under-resourced area or poverty in the world to have the opportunity to play an instrument? I realized my scope was huge. And so I decided, you know what, I'm probably gonna have to write something down. So that is how the String Sprouts curriculum, the idea for the String Sprouts curriculum was born. String Sprouts melds 2 very effective music education philosophies. Anybody heard of the Suzuki philosophy? All right, from that world, I took 2 principles. The first is starting music study really young, and the second is mandatory caregiver participation. All right, here's a trickier one. Anybody heard of El Sistema? Okay, from the El Sistema approach, there are also 2 principles. The first is providing a properly sized instrument for all 5 years of the program at no cost to the family, and taking the classes to their neighborhoods for the easy access part. Okay, back to the horrifying 30 million words. Does String Sprouts affect something like vocabulary development? It's every program's hope and goal to have data that shows a significant impact on whatever it is that they are measuring. Our data, our initial data, and this was gathered by outside program evaluators, shows that String Sprouts does affect vocabulary development at a level 4 times what we were anticipating, 4 times the expected level. We are super thrilled. Yeah. We're super thrilled, and we continue to evaluate larger and larger cohorts of Sprouts, but the initial data is super exciting, right? 4 times. I want to take a moment to talk about the length of the program. You heard me right when I said it is 5 years. There's a reason for this, and it's very significant. Brainvolt's lab at Northwestern University researches the effects of music study. They found that after 2 years of music instruction, neural connections are changed. After 5 years, though, there are additional bumps in the neural response quality. I don't know about you, but I want the biggest neural response quality bumps I can get. So, a long-term investment in music study, at least 2 years, maximizing at 5 years, that's the beauty of the String Sprouts curriculum. I want to make a really important connection between music study and reading readiness that's also addressed in the String Sprouts program. For this one, I'm going to need you guys to help me out. Up on the screen, you are going to see a rhythm that the Sprouts and their caregivers might clap or play in class. I am going to clap this rhythm, and then you will echo it back. So first, listen. Gotta be a string sprout, your turn. Gotta be a string sprout, ready, go. Gotta be a string sprout. Bravo. Okay, now we're gonna make that more fun and a whole lot more educational by adding the track to shredding on the E string, which is one of many specially composed and super cool pieces for the String Sprouts program. By adding an accompaniment track, we're required to take this rhythm, place it in a broader framework which engages auditory discrimination. Auditory discrimination is the skill you use when you're trying to comprehend music or language. So here we go. Get ready. Ready, go. Gotta be a string sprout. Ready, go. Be a string sprout. All right, cool. You guys are an exceptionally rhythmically gifted audience. All right, give yourselves some wild applause. All right, circling back to the Brainvolt's lab and their findings, rhythm ability is linked to early reading skills. Very exciting stuff. Every single String Sprouts lesson has a portion dedicated to developing strong rhythm. If you are good at rhythm and language is innately rhythmic, you will be able to understand language more easily and able to read earlier. Pretty neat stuff. So you did hear me right when I said that the Sprouts and their caregivers would clap or play this rhythm. That's because the caregivers have to attend every single class. Why is this important? Well, remember, for a 3- and 4-year-old, their primary source of education is their caregiver or parent. They're the home teacher. Incidentally, this is also where the 30 million word gap occurs. So, caregivers, there's also a segment in every single String Sprouts lesson that's specially designed for the caregivers. It's an educational segment where they get some crazy good tools to play code for practice with their child at home to make learning fun. One of my very dedicated parents came up to me after class and said, "You asked my child if we practice this week," and they said no. That's because my child doesn't know the word practice. We just have fun playing violin every day. I was like, holy cow, music to my ears, and that pun is very much intended. So we're going to have a really fun, we're going to do an activity that's fun, educational, vocabulary development. As you came in the door, you might have received your very own String Sprouts pencil. I know you have a super cool TEDx pin. One of those two will work. We are going to make a violin bow hold. This is a super complicated, multifaceted task that a 3- and 4-year-old has to master in String Sprouts. So I would love you to hold your pencil/pen in your left hand horizontally. Let me grab mine here, so I don't have an imaginary one. There we go. All right. And hold up your right hand, wiggle those fingers. This is the one you're going to make the bow hold with. It looks like we're almost ready to launch here. All right, here we go. Once upon a time, there were 4 brothers and sisters that went to the lake. The lake had a very big dock that reached out over the water. The 2 middle boys were super good friends and buddies. They ran out onto the dock, sat down, and put their toes way in the water. The oldest girl also loved the lake. She went down, sat a little ways away from her brothers, and she put her feet in the water too. The littlest one wasn't so sure about the putting the feet in the water part, so she went out onto the dock, sat down, and kept her toes up on top. Let me see those nice round pinkies. Swimming underneath the toes of the two boys was the friendly shark. Don't worry, he just came by to say hello. Make sure that shark has a magnificent fin for swimming. Your thumb needs to have a bump on it. All right, so we just used a story, and that story can have multiple endings. It can be used to learn about different fish, docks, lakes, but more importantly, it can be used to repetitively practice a bow hold. I do see some semi-professional / professional looking bow holds out there. So let's give ourselves another round of applause, some major kudos, good work. These major kudos are more important than you might imagine. So remember the 30 million words. I know it's hard to forget, I keep saying it. In that same study, they found that a child in poverty hears an average of 144,000 fewer encouragements and 84,000 more discouragements before entering kindergarten. String Sprouts offers every parent and caregiver a whole lot of support and suggestions for how to create a positive, fun learning environment at home and build up their String Sprouts confidence. In fact, our data shows that the quality of the relationship between the parent and their child goes up and conflict goes down over the course of the program. Today I shared a whole lot of incredible things about music study. Vocabulary development to close a 30 million word gap, rhythm focus to boost early reading skills, positive reinforcement to build self-confidence. And I haven't even talked about how music study increases initiative, creativity, left and right brain integration, focus and attention, and believe me, I'm just getting started. Hopefully, you are asking yourself this very important question right now. Why isn't music study considered a vital and required part of every child's education? And that's starting in preschool, just like reading, writing, and arithmetic. String Sprouts is a replicable way to make this a reality in any community. We already have over 1,000 Omaha Conservatory String Sprouts performing annually with our incredible partners, the Omaha Symphony. String Sprouts tackles the issues of poverty in a fun, holistic, and effective way, and it involves the whole community. No societal problem can ever be solved by siloing efforts, and no one program can single-handedly solve a problem as big as poverty, but every person can do something. You can enroll yourselves immediately in music lessons and every one of your children before the age of 3. You can tell every single parent you meet to do the same. You can get involved with a String Sprouts program near you or get one started. You can make music education a priority in your corner of the world. Shouldn't every child have the chance to say, "I love the violin because it makes me feel amazing"? Knowing what you know now, what's your next musical step? Thank you.